Do you expect Garoppolo to be at training camp?
I really don't. I don't. I think that he's going to be off the 49ers or not. I do not expect that they are going to want him to be there. And I think that they'll likely move off of him before that time.
Why?
I think they're going to be trading to somebody. I have a feeling that he's going to become a Carolina Panther by that time.
Wow. Why Carolina?
They're the one team right now that has the ability to take on his salary cap as it stands. I do feel like they might want to bring him in and redo that kind of a deal. The other thing that might happen there, you've heard the rumor, people kind of floating it out there, of a trade of Garoppolo for Darnold. So that they have a decent backup kind of that could happen, even though I think that's maybe a little more of a little bit more of a long shot, because I don't know if I want to, if I'm the 49ers, if I'd want Darnold to come back and have an $18 million cap hit this year that I can't roll over to next year.
Yeah. I've heard that the Panthers are the last destination available. It seems like if it's not the Panthers, it's no one. I guess I'm going to take the other side. I'm a little bit more cynical than you. I don't think they're going to trade him. I don't think the Panthers are going to come through. They could, but I don't think they will. And so I do think he'll be there at training camp. I think they're going to take this to the end of training camp and try to showcase him in preseason to show that he can throw. I think if teams are hesitant now about trading for him now, they're going to want to see him throw. I mean, everyone said this is no big deal. This surgery is no problem. It has nothing. But teams are scared, apparently. So I think teams might want to see him. Some reports from training camp, maybe some throws in a game just to see what kind of arm strength does he have left. So I do think he's going to be at camp. I think they're going to have a quarterback competition. And although Kyle Shanahan came out today and said basically he wants Trey Lance to be the starter, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. And there's other people in the locker room. Jimmy Garoppolo is the unquestioned leader of this team. Ask any player. And so it's going to be Kyle's and Trey's job to convince the rest of the locker room that this is the right move.
It's funny because I've switched my position on this a little bit in the last week or two since we talked about this before. Remember, I was the one who thought that this was going to be a quarter. I'm fine with it being a quarterback competition. I don't know if it's going to happen. I did find it when you listen through Shanahan's comments. It was funny because there was one point in which he was talking about Trey coming in and competing, and I think he was talking about Trey Lance, and in the middle of the response, or at the end of the response, he talks about Trey competing with Trey. So you could see it in his, he maybe lost himself a little bit there on that one.
I almost thought he was talking about Jimmy halfway there at the end. So I guess that's the way I look at it, is look, maybe best case scenario, they trade him to Carolina ASAP as soon as Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy. Saving that, it's possible what's happening is that the Niners are saying, dude, we could have traded you. You blindsided us with this surgery. They pretty much, they're like, look, we didn't know. We didn't expect this. There was a market. What the Niners could be doing here is be like, look, dude, we know what you tried to do. Joe Staley knows. He wrote it. He said, we know what you tried to do. You tried to sabotage the trade so you'd get released. You thought we wanted to use cap space this year. You thought you could choose your destination. You thought wrong. We are cool signing Charvarius Ward and sticking right there and focusing on special teams. We are cool keeping you. You know why? Because you don't have any guaranteed money. And what we're going to do is take this to August 31st. Try to trade you. Maybe someone will get hurt. If not, then we'll cut you. And there will be no starting jobs left. And you won't get any money. And you thought you played us, but we played you. And I almost feel like a little bit of that's going on. Everyone's been talking about how Don Yee got over on the Niners. The Niners are like, oh, word?
No, did he? Don Yee didn't get over on him.
Did he? Well, let's see how much money Jimmy Garoppolo makes this year, huh? Let's see. Because he's going to have no suitors because that's what the Patriots did with Cam Newton and Mac Jones. They made Mac Jones sort of prove it in training camp. They held on to Cam Newton just in case. And then right at the end, they cut Cam Newton, and Cam Newton had to wait a while for someone to sign him. And he had to go week by week with his game checks.
No, you're right. I don't. It's just an interesting situation. I totally disagree that Don Yee won this thing. There's no way that they won. There's no way that
it's not over yet, is it?
No.
They're saying right now.
Yeah. Well, if the 49ers don't, if all of this results in the 49ers not being able to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, it's going to cost him and his client money, because he's not going to get $25.5 million cash this year.
That's what I'm saying right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like the Niners like, oh, you want to take us down? Well, you're coming down with us, baby. And it seems like the Niners kind of like cutting off their nose despite their face. You're really going to hold on to Jimmy Garoppolo. You could get the cap space right now and get Stephon Gilmore or Tyrann Mathieu, but you're going to take this all just so Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have anywhere he can start next year and he doesn't make any money. What's really important? But at the same time, the Niners, I can see it. That's what I think is going to happen. Save a trade to Carolina, which is the best case scenario. I think they cut him like right at the end of camp. They're like, oops, sorry, gave you a chance. Can't.
Yeah.
And if you want to come back for $10 million, that's great. We would love to have you as our backup.
Yeah, and that could be the case. And I just feel like they're not going to go that route. Just kind of what we've heard over the last couple of days. For me, just kind of, I understand that they're kind of playing that game, but I think they're playing it because they're trying to keep some value. Like, hey, we're willing to keep them. But yeah. I think there's been some discussions with Carolina, and I think in some ways the teams they're just not sharing that information outside of themselves.